It's Sunday night. It's 8 o'clock. Welcome to All Lacrosse Live. I'm Gary Groob in Toronto. With me, as always, I have Shawn Slaght over in Moose Jaw. Shawn, how you doing?
Doing pretty good, thanks, Gary.
Excellent. And over in Connecticut, I got Muffler Mike. Mike, how are you?
The caption says it all.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're putting your mortgage on our picks, I'm sorry you're homeless. It ain't happening with our PLL box guy, man.
But PSA, I have a basement for rent. As long as you don't mind living next to Langley and Owen Sound, and now the Kitchener Juniors.
Yeah, Shawn's trying to claw his way out of there, and
trying,
but he's trying.
You guys aren't helping much.
We got a great show for you tonight, guys. We have Paul Stewart with us, former NLL coach, and he's going to discuss some of the NLL inductees with us because we had that big list come out, and really looking forward to that. We have for you, of course, playoff time. We have OJLL. We have Western stuff going on. We have Ontario Series Lacrosse first round is up and done. We have Major Series Lacrosse going, WLA, and so much more. But just before we get rolling, just a reminder to everybody that all of our shows are streamed live across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, also Twitch, and the next day on Spotify. Remember to hit the subscribe, follow, and like buttons. Always share. Please enjoy all of our affiliates across the Streampunk Entertainment Network. And if you've missed a show, no worries. You can catch all the shows on YouTube, whether it be at Streampunk Cinema, Streampunk Combat, Streampunk Sports, or, of course, all across all the time, in which you will find retro games, interviews, our library of shows, fights, press conference, and so much more, and more coming all the time. Remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting streampunkentertainment.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. Well, guys, without further ado, I would like to bring on Paul Stewart. Has built a respected career as both a player and a coach, earning a reputation of one of the game's top tactical minds. As a player, he competed in the Ontario junior ranks, winning a Founders Cup with Aurelia in '95 before transitioning into coaching. His coaching resume spans the National Lacrosse League, Major League Lacrosse, Major Indoor Lacrosse, Major Series Lacrosse, international competition, and elite player development, giving experience at virtually every level of the sport. Stewart has served as an assistant coach in the NLL with the New York Titans, Philadelphia Wings, helped the Toronto Nationals capture the 2009 MLL Championship as an offensive coordinator, coached Ireland at World Championships, and worked with Team Canada's senior men's field program. In Major Series Lacrosse, he has led the Brampton Excelsiors and earned numerous amounts of Coaching of the Year honors, while playing a significant role in developing athletes through programs such as Edge Lacrosse, U.S. Box. His combination of professional, international, and grassroots experience has made him one of the most respected coaches and educators in Canadian lacrosse. Let's bring him on with us. Paul, great to have you on, man.
Hey, great to be on again, and thank you for that. I'm going to make sure to play that for my wife's family when I get off here. That was a great intro.
Hey, just calling it the way we see it, right? It's always great to have you on the show. It's always great to talk lacrosse. Listen, we had the NLL inductees announced, and let me just bring this thing up here. And this is a who's who, is it not? Dan Dawson, Mark Stainhouse, Sean Evans, Sandy Chapman, Micah Kersey, Jake Berge, Gavin Prout, and John Gertler. And ironically, of the 8, 7 of them I've had on the show already.
Oh, wow.
I just haven't been able to get Stainhouse yet. I'll get him. Don't worry, I'll get him.
Yeah, it really, I mean, we've been spoiled. We had a list a few years ago with, Sean Williams, Steve Toll, Casey Powell, John Grant. That was another big list. And now this one, I mean, I think the first guy we have to start with is, my hometown guy and my good friend, Gavin Prout. I think a lot of people think his inclusion might be a little bit late, but at least he's finally there. And, he grew up playing in the Whitby minor system, won 2 Minto Cups, I believe, went on to win a Mann Cup with the Redmen. And then, he was drafted first overall by the New York Saints while they were still a thing.
Right.
And he is, anyone who knows him, when you watch his highlights, he's just, you see some of the guys like the John Grant Juniors and some of these guys that are flashy and fancy. Gavin was just bread and butter. He he played hard. He played competitive. I think he's 5'9". He'd probably tell me he's taller, but, and, 180 pounds, but he plays 6'5". And I have to say, he is the most competitive guy I've ever met in
Even
my
to
life.
this
Like,
day. Yeah.
like
Even to this day.
Gavin Prout loves his mother, but if they're going for the same parking spot, he will ram her to get it. And that's just how he is. He loves, I think there's the expression, I hate losing more than I love winning.
Yeah.
And he just will not lose. And, I know he's doing a good job, obviously, with the merchants in the red, or the, BLC, whatever they're called now. And, almost bringing a President's Cup home, which is very, very difficult to do. And, I know Six Nations looks pretty unbeatable, but I think sort of the issue with the red this year is there's so many guys, but getting the same core group together consistently has been a bit of a problem. And hopefully we can get that sorted out and make a good run. So very well deserved by Gavin. I couldn't be happier for him.
Right. Why don't we go on over to Dan Dawson?
So Dan Dawson is just, I think people forget that Dan Dawson was drafted as a defender. And Eddie Como sort of got a hold of him and said, no, this won't do. And he is just the classiest, best leader you've ever met in your life. I'll tell you a story about Dan Dawson. I used to be a part of a facility in Oshawa, Ontario called the Barn. And we ran a 3-on-3 preseason thing. It was a smaller floor for NLL guys. And it took Dan Dawson probably an hour and a half to drive. I think he was living in Burlington at the time.
Right.
He came out one night, and there were him and Mark Matthews just. So I said, when you watch guys play, it's fun. But when you watch them in like a practice environment and they really get to let loose, it's special. And Dan Dawson came out, and I would say there were 8 or 9 regular NLL guys and about 10 guys who were on the bubble. And they all just sat and watched him. But the thing about Dan Dawson and why he's so great is when it was over, even though he had come the farthest, he grabbed Riley O'Connor and they stayed and he shot for 45 minutes.
Right.
And I sort of went in the locker room and I said, like, this guy's got 3 championships and he's here and you guys are off the floor. And that's the difference by why some guys make it and some don't. And another thing, we had a girl on the Brampton Excelsiors who's she helped with the training staff, and she was the head anatomy instructor for Moksha Yoga, and she's a professor at the massage school. She knows more about sort of the human body and how they work than anybody. And she would sit and watch Dan Dawson stretch and said it's just the most fascinating thing she's ever seen. He's just so meticulous. He takes such good care of himself. He is, he's a role model, and it's just another wonderful choice. And also now that he's with the Toronto Rock, my son had his first year at Cornell last year, but he committed 2 years before. So we watched games, we went down, and I had the opportunity to meet CJ Kirst a couple of years ago. And I saw him right after the draft. And when I heard that he was going to play for Dan Dawson, I just thought this is a match made in heaven, because I tell you what, they're so much alike. Yep. Personality wise, both of them, you don't realize how big they are, but they're both just like, you'd let them date your sister. Like, they're just, they're wonderful guys and wonderful talents. And that's another guy that I'm really, really happy for.
Right. Let's move over to Sandy Chapman.
So Charlie Hustle, this actually is probably my favorite because, back, especially when I first started, the defender, you used to just sort of take the biggest guys, the biggest, I think Kurt Malewski called them lunkers, and put them out and try and hammer and whatever. And then, the Mike Hazens came along and the Tom Hayeks, and then Sandy Chapman. And he was like a water bug. He was everywhere. He was, we made him captain in Brampton his last year. Actually, his last year in May, I know this is an NLL thing, but his last game in Major Series, we played Six Nations, and I told Richie Kilgore that it was Sandy's last game. And with a minute left, Richie put 9 guys on the floor. And we got Sandy a penalty shot in his last game, but he missed it. And I'm sort of never forgive Warren Hill for that. But he that guy did everything. Like, and he did it like, I don't know if you know him, but he's always
Yes.
smiling. He's just so happy.
That's what I was about to
And
say. He's always smiling, always friendly, always has time for everybody.
it's why I bet, like, and he's a nurse too, and I bet he's just an amazing nurse too, because he's just like, he knows everything. And sometimes it was like there were two or three of them on the floor. Like, if there was a ball, he's not a big guy, and if there were three guys in the corner and there was a ball, he went in and he came out with it. And he very simple. He'd run up the floor. If someone was open, he would pass it. If someone wasn't open, he'd run it and shoot it. And it's great to see. Like we just talked about Gavin Prout, who's a championship MVP, a league MVP. Dan Dawson, who we could talk about his accolades all the time. Sandy Chapman's sort of a lesser known guy, but it's really nice to see somebody, the workhorse get recognized. So that's, again, just another great addition to the Hall of Fame.
I agree. And, I think back to around 2010 or so, and him and Flipper on the defense in the Rock. And just as they were turning the corner, becoming that viable team again after a couple of years of nowhere. And watching the two of them work was incredible, because you had two guys who were just both workhorses, both students of the game, and they could do anything. It
was so annoying. Like, they were everywhere, and they wouldn't. It was like, what do they call it? Death by 1,000 cuts. Neither one of those guys were going to lay you out or knock you on your butt, but they were just always there, always in the way. And it's important, because I think guys like that have helped some of these guys who are sort of undersized show that they can be in this league. And you're absolutely right. Him and Flipper were a menace.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's go to Sean Evans, talking about menaces, but a man who scored no matter where he was.
So the first time I met Sean Evans, it was in like the senior men's field lacrosse league. And he was Joey Hiltz was coaching the one team, and we were both sort of player coaches. We called ourselves player coaches because we put ourselves on the power play once or twice a game, and that was it. But Sean Evans was 17 years old. And I know you had Jason Crosby on after me a few weeks ago. Sean Evans put a two-hander across Jason Crosby's leg and almost broke his leg. And I went over to Hilty and I said, "You need to put a leash on this kid, or someone's coming after him." And Hilty laughed at me and said, "Go ahead." And I didn't know what to do. he has been a man. I heard a story, actually, and someone could have to look this up, but I heard that he punched Ty Domi in the nuts when he was a little kid, when his father was playing hockey with him. Like, he is just, he's the youngest brother.
He also played for the Petes, right? So he was there as an enforcer for the Petes.
Oh, so yeah, that might have been when it was. That's right.
5'7", and he's an enforcer, and a damn good one at that.
Yeah, but so Shawnee Evans, I have three boys, and my youngest is probably my toughest. Again, the other two will disagree, but his brothers were Steven and Sean, and they didn't go easy on him, and that guy could play. He could compete. Remember, he fought Dan Lattiser.
Yeah.
And it was entertaining, and Laddie's big, so Shawnee's awesome. He is just.
Well, I remember like the Rochester years where him and Scotty were together, and they were just an absolute menace. They both could score at will, but they were both tough as nails. And every now and again, the screw would get a little bit loose, and then it would become an entertainment event.
There's a video of him when I was with Philadelphia. He ran Brandon Miller at the end of the game, and someone needs to look for this video, but Steve Toll had the ball and Sean Evans was over just shaking the stick, give it to me, and Steve couldn't understand because it was the end of the game, and Sean just took the ball and went and just flattened Brandon Miller. And we had a pretty big physical Philadelphia team, and he didn't care. And you're right. Like, again, just another guy. I saw him. I believe he just moved to Texas or somewhere.
He did. He was coaching out there about a year ago.
Yeah, I saw him in the summer, and I actually sat his Steven's son was playing junior A for Peterborough earlier this year. I sat with Steven and their father Paul for a little bit, and it was actually quite nice and great family. Obviously Peterborough, great lacrosse city. So I mean, this is a great class, right? So
Absolutely.
another good one.
All right, let's go on over to Mike Kersey.
So Mike's a guy who is sort of like Chappie. He was everywhere, has done everything. I think he played for every single team, and no matter where you put him, he produced. Another guy who's not the biggest, but I think he was doing crease dives before crease dives were a thing. And, obviously a student of the game because he's done a great job in Halifax, but I also got to see him. He has a kid the same age as mine, I believe, or he was coaching the same group as me in St. Catharines for years, and they were always really dangerous. I don't know him as well. Went to school with him briefly. I don't have as much to say about him, but he, there's a bad stigma about guys who move around from team to team, but the fact that you can go to so many different groups and still contribute so much, it really should be a compliment to your game and how adaptive you are, and you're willing to do anything to succeed. And he was great at that, and I'm very happy for him as well.
Yeah, and he's one of the nicest guys to sit down and just chat with. On the show, he was great, but just to see him in the back hallway in an arena or something like that, and just spend 2 or 3 minutes just catching up, and he's just such a real person, and I love that about him. Yeah,
and he knows his stuff too. Like he's one of those people that when you ask him a question, you can really see you can sort of see the light go on and the wheels turning before he answers, and obviously. I appreciate that, but he is another great guy, and I think actually, I believe he proposed to his wife at a Bandits game. He got her out during the entertainment. They blind, where they blindfold you and you point and the crowd has to cheer and you have to find a prize. We took the blindfold off. He was there, so on top of a Hall of Famer, he's a diehard romantic, and who doesn't like that too, right? So,
well, if you remember during COVID, him and his daughters doing all those TikTok videos, all the stuff there and dancing around there, and doesn't take himself seriously either.
I did not know about those, but I now know what I'm going to be doing when I get off this podcast.
But yeah, just the idea that he doesn't take himself too seriously, but can be deadly serious at the same time, is really a testament. Many times, as you know, I talk about character, and we have a list full of character people here, not just players, but character people. All right, let's go over to Mark Stainhouse, and of course, he was the Hollywood before Hollywood was the thing either, and he was the thing that drew Bandits fans in. I'll give you something interesting, Paul, to take a look at on our All Across YouTube page. Is I have a Columbus Land Shark game up there where Stainhouse was playing for them because he started with them before he went to Buffalo. So all the people in Buffalo always go ape nuts over that because it's like, oh, there he is. Because also beside that, we have the 17-point night there too.
But you have to remember about him, like he didn't play lacrosse until I want to say high school, when he started dating Billy D and Jason Luke's sister. Right. And they had him over for dinner, and I think I want to say he was a skateboarder. Now don't hold me to that, but I want to say he was a skateboarder. And I think Billy basically said, if you're going to be around, you may as well try this out. And he just picked it up. He is such a good athlete. Like, it's unbelievable. He's got no fat on his body. I actually have a pair of those Orange Bandit shoes, and it's funny because I
first one to do it.
My family, my background's Northern Ireland, and we're orange. I'm an Orangeman, and when I saw those shoes, I had to have one. And I can't remember who it was who got them for me, but I think I finally retired them this year, and they were probably 10. I mean, I didn't play a lot, so I didn't take a lot of abuse, but he was the first one to do that. And I remember that 17-point game. It wasn't against us, which was great because I get tired of being a part of record-breaking performances by the other team. But He was fun.
That was the Valentine Day massacre against the Toronto Rock.
But he had sort of. We went back to Dan Dawson, and like Dan Dawson was so good that you knew Dan Dawson was going to swim. When Dan Dawson had the ball and he was going 1-on-1, you knew he was going to swim, and he still did it every time. Mark Steinhaus, had a little move where he would run, stop, and start running again, and it worked every time. And it was like the most basic, it's like, how do you draw this play up? You run straight, you stop, and you run straight again, and he could do it, and it worked. And he's a character too, and he's got, like, it's nice too to see his boys. I know Ari and my son Trey are good friends, and seeing the success he's having is great. And Ty's having a great season, and
he's having a great summer, that's for sure.
Yeah, they're all really, really great kids, and they're a lacrosse family, and it's fun having him. But he was, that, like, I know we're going to talk about John Gertler later, but and I know you'll know this, I forget, but the announcer in Buffalo, who's just the PA announcer, who's just the best in the business, with Chris Swenson. Yeah, Chris. Yeah. So that whose house chant, it was great. Like most, like, I'm 51. Most guys my age are still, diehard. Like, we were Bandits fans when we were younger because Detroit was too far. Buffalo came in the league, and that's when they, won it 3 years in a row. When I met my wife 10 years ago, she had seen lacrosse but didn't know it, and I said, okay, I'm going to bring you to Buffalo. And she thought, like, how stupid is it that we are going to drive from Oshawa through a city that has a team and drive an extra hour and a half to go watch a game? And it's her favorite sporting event every year now. We go every year to Buffalo still, even though we have a team in our hometown now, and we still go to Buffalo. I mean, we go to both, but it's the best atmosphere, I think, other than Philadelphia maybe 10 years ago. But the Steinhaus cheer, whose house was great, and as a Bandits fan and as a fan of that family, it's another guy. It's just another great selection.
Absolutely. When you talk about Buffalo, I can go, in those mill days and driving to Buffalo and in the Memorial Auditorium, sitting up in the orange and scared to look forward too much because you think you'd be on the floor.
So we always joke that we were at the 1817 Buffalo Philadelphia game. We took a bus, and myself, Sean Williams was on the bus, a bunch of us, and literally you were afraid that if there was a good goal and you jumped up to celebrate, you were going to end up on the floor.
Yeah.
It was like the seat in front of you, like normally the head of the seat in front of you hits you in the knees. At the auditorium, it was at your toes. Like it was, but it was a lot of fun in there though. So
that place was insane. That and the Spectrum were my two favorite places to go growing up because it was nuts, both of those places, and the low boards and the low glass to the boards. So, how many times were there arguments with fans and all the craziness that went on, especially in the mill leagues. We're having Elliot on and we're talking about that and how every arena was different back then, where now you may change the name on it, but every floor is the same. And every division and everything else is the same. Back then, if you were in Spectrum, you knew it. If you were in Buffalo, you knew it.
Well, it's funny to talk about those boards in Buffalo, and I want to say it was at the old arena. There's a video where Darius Kilgore scores the winner with about, I don't know how many seconds left. He runs over to the glass and he jumps up and he hugs. It's actually Miles General that he's hugging over the glass, and they're two big boys, but they were low, so they were able to get over it. And I remember because I was standing beside Miles, and when he jumped, he kicked me in the face. And, but that one's on there for sure. But yeah, it was a great place. But speaking of the Spectrum, I think probably our next one is Mr. Berge.
That's right.
So I mean, I love Jake Berge. I love him. I know he was out golfing all last week with my good friend Eric Miller. He was so good and he was so big. He comes in the league and he chooses to have his first fight with Pat Coyle, who was an absolute killer. And most people think he won. When we were talking about this. I don't think we ever did it, but if you want to go through your all-time American players, when you go offensively, I mean, for me, Casey's number 1 and Joey's number 2, but I have Jake at number 3. And if anyone wants to change that order, like, there's a good argument for all of them.
Yeah.
But he did it at a time, Joey played in the summer leagues, and he got that extra experience, and he grew up by St. Catharines.
Mm-hmm.
Casey was just a freak of nature, and he just got it. And Jake Berge sort of combines their talent, but he was just a tank. Like, he was physically so big. I mean, his father was his father a linebacker or a lineman?
He was a lineman. Yep.
Yeah, and he had the same build, and just a great guy. Loved the game, and played. I mean, that's part of the reason that the atmosphere in Philadelphia was so good, was because of guys like that. Just because of the style and the intensity that they played in. And Americans weren't doing it. He wasn't up here playing in the summer leagues. He was playing in the field league, where he basically played the same. Like, when he got the ball and he got some speed going, you had to either hope he missed or he fell. And unfortunately for other teams, he didn't miss or fall very often. So he is great, and I know that he's the guy who inspired a lot of Americans to really. Philadelphia was a primarily American team, but there weren't a lot of guys that as a Canadian, you'd watch this guy and be like, man, I like this guy a lot. And I know that he inspired a lot of especially some of the two-sport athletes who were, football and lacrosse guys. He sort of showed them, hey, maybe I can do this. And he's an all-time great. And I love the Philadelphia Wings. I really hope that they save that franchise. I mean, for me, the Oshawa Firewolves are my Philadelphia Wings, but I mean, that city deserves a team. You talk about the Spectrum. We had a game one time. This was when the Spectrum was still standing. This is why Philadelphia deserves a team. The Philadelphia Flyers played at 2:00 and they sold out. We played at 8:00, so they put the carpet down, and we played at 8, and we were almost sold out. And the Philadelphia Phantoms played across the parking lot in the Spectrum, and they had over 10,000 people there. And you're telling me a city like that can't support an NLL team? There's got to be a way to do it, because they deserve it. And that that number 66 belongs in the rafters. So another great choice.
I agree. It's funny, we talk about that, and their very first game, the Philadelphia Flyers won the Stanley Cup that afternoon, their first cup ever, and the Wings played that night. And the people, I remember having Larry Lloyd on the show, and he was telling me, here you have a bunch of kids from Peterborough who never been out of the area and are into the city of Philadelphia, of all things. They just won the Stanley Cup, and people didn't know how to react. They lost their minds. There were people naked in the streets. There were people on the street. And this group of people didn't want to leave, so they stayed for lacrosse, and they realized, hey, this is as good, if not better, than hockey. And
that's great.
The legacy was born right there.
Well, I don't know when the last time we went to Peterborough was, but unfortunately, being naked in the street is not that uncommon in downtown Peterborough anymore. But
I was there a few weeks ago. I'm going to be there Thursday for this game too. So I've seen that. It's been a bit of a change out there.
Yeah. The mood's not the same as the Stanley Cup parade, but the nudity is similar. So
it's got its own little flavor there now. Yeah, great. That brings us to our last one on the list, and that is John Gertler. And I have had a long relationship with John, and we've done a lot of things together and a lot of radio broadcasts together. And he has me on at least once a year to be his halftime guest on the Bandits radio show. But John, when I had him on my show and went through all the things he did, he took over for Ted Darling, for crying out loud, doing the hockey. He was the voice of the Bills for a number of years at Rich Stadium, doing the in-game stuff, as well as doing 20 years of the Bandits. So he has been around, and he is a professor adjunct at one of the universities in Buffalo, and teaching the craft old school. Because if you ever watch him doing a radio broadcast, it is just him. TV, he does it color guy. He'll have Mernsey, or nowadays he has Steve with him. But back then, any of the radio broadcast is just him. And all of us who do shows know that if you are by yourself, without getting on to rambling, which you tend to do when you're on your own because you have nobody to shut you up.
Yeah.
It's a pretty amazing thing that he is dead precise to make his commercials, to make everything else, to make the points he wants to make. He does it with very little notes, old school.
Yeah.
And away he goes.
I mean, like you mentioned him and Randy, and like I said, I'm a Bandits fan. I'd rather be there in person, but when you get the broadcasts, and especially over the last few years, like I was fortunate because throughout the league, it started where they would mail you a DVD of every game, and sometimes it was just a scoreboard feed. Other times it was actual broadcast, depending what they had. But through the last few years, with the addition of like the ESPN Plus and the TSN Plus, and being able to actually see every game. When the Bandits went on that run, because of guys like Pre and Matt Vince and stuff, I watched a ton of them. And I don't like, there are a lot of good people out there, your Jake Elliott's, name them. Is there anybody better than Gertz and Randy Mearns? Like,
No, really? I love that combination.
I think they're amazing. And it's actually, I was so happy when Randy got hired by Rochester, but then at the same time, I didn't want to have to learn somebody new on the TV. So it was,
right.
Mixed emotion, but no, he's great. I've never met him. But I've listened to him for years, and he's excellent. And, I think
genuine guy, and to sit and have a beer with him after the game is just A, it's hilarious, and B, it's informative. And you put the two together, and, he'll listen to what you have to say as much as have something to say about something.
Well, and it's just sort of like, it feels like something about the city of Buffalo where the media guys are like that. Like Tom Borelli was the same way, and they just love the game and they love to talk about it. And, I didn't realize he did all the things you're telling me. So it seems like here's another one who's overdue for going in, but you know,
he finally got his recognition a couple of years ago when he won the Borelli.
Okay.
It's one thing to get nominated. I got nominated, but it's to win it. That was something. He won it not last year, the year before, and so deserving. So long it needed to happen because, man, you can tell his voice anywhere.
Yeah, it's good. It's smooth, and he gets it too. Like you can tell when people, I've never done play-by-play. I've done a lot of color commentary, and I think it's the easier the job. But when you get a play-by-play guy that really understands the game and the flow and how they're doing it, it helps the experience. It's interesting because as you can see, I'm up at the cottage. And Whitby juniors are in the playoffs, and I hate missing games, but this is my wife's family cottage. We booked this months ago, so that the games were on YouTube. So I got to watch the one, and it was Matt Carrick and Lucas did it, and they were great. For the second game, there was no commentary at all, and that's the only way that I used to watch games. Mm-hmm. And when I'm watching them to break them down, I hate the noise. But when I was watching it to just sort of enjoy it, not having the commentary, I couldn't stand it. And it's just having someone who's really good at it really enhances a game. So
see, there's another voice that we're going to hear a lot of over the next number of years. Matt Carrick, I've known him for years and through JVI, and now he's getting his due with NLL and. President's Cup and OSL and some of the other things done in the summer with MSL. So he's finally getting his dues, and he's taking it and running with it. He's just such a student of the game. And you're talking about the last Hall of Fame induction with Shawn Williams, and I happened to be there, and I was invited by the NLL to be there. And sitting beside me, of course, was Matt and Steven Stamp, and what a group to be sitting at.
Yeah.
At the table and just to listen to stories all evening long, let alone everything else that was going on.
Well, it's interesting because I've done color for Steven and for Matt, and but I never have really, I'd never really listened to Matt when I wasn't there because, I never like, he does junior games. I very rarely watch a junior game on TV because I'm at them.
Yeah.
And so I didn't, sitting beside him, I didn't realize how good he was. And I have to mention, it's up on my Facebook. My father passed away a month ago, and he brought it up on the broadcast and a little note to my son Trey and mentioned my mother, and it was just the nicest thing. And my mother, I mean, she was so appreciative. She'd never met him, and he asked what her name was, and he knows that she watches every game that's on, and it was just the most thoughtful thing. And I can't say thank you to him enough. But yeah, hopefully you're right. It'd be nice. And I just only hope that we're hearing him doing at least another round of Whitby games. So fingers crossed for that.
We'll see how that goes. But nip and tuck. It's nice to see still 3 of those 4 are still series going, right?
Yeah, I actually, before I came on, I was watching some of the Six Nations Orangeville game, and it was awesome. It was a really good game.
Just as good too.
Is it? Yeah. I mean, I don't see St. Catharines losing. I don't see Burlington coming back. They got their 1 win. I mean, the Six Nations series could go either way. Our series is, I'm leaving tomorrow morning so I can get back to Brampton and go to the game.
Right.
I think we can win, but there's no guarantee we're going to. Those games have been great, and playing in that arena it's so hot. And then if Brampton beats us tomorrow, then it'll be the 3rd back-to-back in the 7-game series, and and they're good, big physical games, and those kids are awesome. They're awesome. I don't know what else to say.
Paul, thanks, man. I really appreciate it to go through all this stuff with us. And when you're back in the city, of course, look me up, and we'll get together in person, and we'll spend an evening discussing and having fun.
Excellent. Hey, thanks, guys, and enjoy the rest of your night. Cheers.
Enjoy the cottage and safe trips back.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
All right, take care.
Bye.
That was Paul Stewart, everybody. And as always, just a pleasure to have him on, and just a fountain of knowledge. Pat, we're going to go the other way around now.
Yeah, because there's no knowledge here, bud.
For a while there, when we were getting a little bit too high on the IQ thing, so we're going to bring Pat in. We're going to dumb down a little bit, and
lower a lot. That guy had full his IQs up here.
I can't say anything about him, though, man. He did better than me in the picks. I think he went 3-1 up there. Let me have a look here. Yeah, look at that.
Again?
3-1 for Pat, 3-1 for Shawn, 2-2 for Mike, 1-3 for good old Gare. And Gare is still tied with Mike at the top, which just shows you if you are betting your house on our picks, I'm sorry, you're homeless.
No.
Shawn actually moved up quite a bit, and he's at 12-19.
Yeah, I'm still last. The base is looking pretty good. Thanks for renovating, Mike.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Oh my gosh.
Stick to my bread and butter. I'll stick to box because, man, I'm just nowadays it's just that's the one we're going with. Oh, look, it's unbelievable.
And I was half tempted this close of taking Carolina. I'm glad I didn't do that.
I took them.
Did you?
See where it got me?
Yeah. I was this close because I just figured, Chad Palumbo, who's going to guard him, as far as Outlaws. But I know Outlaws will make adjustments. I know the Outlaws have a high-powered offense, and like I predicted, that was going to happen, and that's what happened in this game anyway.
Right. Mike, why don't we go through some PLL then, shall we? Well, we got Pat.
Yeah. We can start with Friday. And did any of you guys see the California Redwoods Friday night? I sure didn't.
No.
They definitely did not show. 20 7. The Whip Snakes put on a clinic. Pro Field Lacrosse has a new all-time points leader. That would be one Rob Pennell. He came into the game just 4 points shy of Paul Rabel's record, and rather deftly put together a 5-goal, 1-assist performance, getting the record-breaking point on a goal early in the third quarter, and then following it up with another patented question mark goal. TJ Malone matched him, 5 goals and an assist on the night for the Whip Snakes. Joey Spallina had 2 goals, a 2-point goal, and 2 assists for 6 points. You had a goal and an assist each for Matt Brandow and Adam Patois. And then Colin Heacock, Richie Connell, Aiden Carroll, and Blake Island adding in goals. And suddenly Emmett Carroll is looking like Dominic Kostiuk out there. 18 saves on the day. For the Redwoods, yikes. Sam English, pair of goals and an assist. Josh Balkersell had a pair of goals. Chris Kavanaugh, a pair of goals. Aiden Denenza had a goal. They held Ryder Garnsey to 1 assist, and they held Dylan Malloy and Andrew McAdory scoreless. So if you're wondering what happened to Redwood's offense, you could probably sum it up with those 3 stat lines right there. TD Erlin, 18 of 27 on faceoffs, 9 ground balls. Dylan Ward, just 8 saves. He got replaced by the top draft pick that they gave away some draft picks, I think, to get him. Ryan Croddick, who just came off that championship with Princeton. He made 4 saves, but had a bit of a gaffe after his first save where he got caught out of the net a little too far, and Spallina picked up the loose ball, beat him to it, and fired in his 2-point goal with him well out of the net. So, but getting some reps. So, I guess maybe that's a bright spot for the Redwoods, other than the fact that, they still hold a share of the Western Conference lead, although their goal differential is now -11, despite that 500 record. So, I guess I'll hop over to the WLL game, and then Pat can take over the Saturday action. The Maryland Charm will be headed to the WLL final after a 21-17 win over the Boston Guard that eliminated the Guard from playoff contention. A few records set here. I believe this was the most goals in a WLL game so far. It is their inaugural season, but 38 scores. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And boy, in Charlotte North's absence, Rachel Clark, a WLL record, 9 goals in this game to go with 2 assists. She's now tied for the league lead in points with 20, and has the league lead in goals with 16, and she still has a game to play. Beyond that, not a whole lot of offense. Madison Ahern had a pair of goals. Kaylee Dyer, a goal and 2 assists. Several other Guard players each chipped in a goal. Maddie Epke, 26 of 40 on draw controls. I'm going to guess those are probably records as well. 18 ground balls. That could certainly be a single game record. Tough night for Shea Dolce in net for the Guard, just 13 saves. So you can do the math and figure out how many shots she got pelted with. Moving over to Maryland's side, we'll start with the back end because this is definitely going to be interesting for the finals. Keely Waters starts the first half, as they've been doing all season, makes 8 saves, replaced by rookie draft pick Jenica Cuoco for the second half, and Cuoco makes just 3 saves, and Waters has to come back into the game early in the fourth when the guard went on a 6-goal run to close to close within 2. So you kind of have to wonder what they're going to do in the finals here with this 2 goalie system, because they've had back-to-back games now where one of the 2 goalies has just not performed very well at all. Fortunately, they use their speed and their skill to put up more goals than Boston. Bridget Duffy, she's tied with Clark for the league lead, 20 points. She had a 10-point night, 7 goals and 3 assists. Sydney Black, 5 goals, 2 assists. Ashley Humphrey, 3 goals, 4 assists. Allie Kennedy had 4 goals and 2 assists. And Sam Apuzzo, 2 goals and 4 assists for the Charm. Again, there's one more game to be played. It's going to be 3 weeks from now, I believe. Some of the ladies are off for the next 2 weeks to Tokyo, I believe, for the Women's Worlds. So, and that includes actually Kaylee Waters and Shea Dolce are the 2 starting goalies for Team USA. So, but when they come back, the Guard will play California in the final regular season game. If they beat California by a large enough margin, New York will get into the final. If California wins or loses by less than 10 goals, I believe, they'll still make the final against Maryland. So,
All right. Pat, talk to us about Saturday in the PLL.
Not good. Not good at all. Again, not good. Just when I think I had this league figured out, it throws me through a loophole and twisted my mind up like a pretzel. So no, it's not good at all. So first game you had was Carolina and Utah. I'm sorry, Carolina and Denver. Carolina with a nice jump right out the gates, looking good. Owen Hiltz, Chad Palumbo looked like they could feed off each other, coming up, being very creative down low. Just Chad Palumbo using his big body and getting Owen Hiltz open. That worked for a good little bit, but Denver adjusted. And when Denver made their adjustments, the whole they flipped the script. They figure out how to score on them, how to slow them down. And by the way, the big X factor to the whole PLL, the PLL wasn't good because it was wet, it was rainy, and a lot of players got injured. The Carolina actually lost 2 defenders. What's his name?
Jack Rowlett.
Jack Rowlett went down.
And then Christian Scarpello went down later.
He went down as well
game,
with a shoulder injury. So, a lot of guys got hurt. So that kind of benefited for Denver, but Denver just kind of took over. And again, spreading the ball around, scoring in transition, just finding ways to win. And of course, Mr. Kavanaugh, as I showed you guys that clip, just battling through. I mean, they were playing physical with him, and he just battled through and put the icing on the cake and got them over the hump. So, again, just when you don't think Denver looks like they're going to be any shape or form being a contender in this league, they just tell you don't sleep on us because they show you they can hang with just about anybody. Nasty stuff. So you had Patrick, like I said, Chad Palumbo doing the dirty work. Owen Hiltz looked pretty good with a pair of goals early, but question, though, and it's more so the coaching staff of Carolina. I mean, you had a great jump, but you didn't score until the fourth quarter. And then again, just looked like you had things figured out. Denver said, nah, we're good. we're shutting this party down. You're not winning this game. And that's kind of what happened. That was the story of this game. So you got, like I said, a lot of good scoring. Obviously, the big dogs came out to play, but Kavanaugh with only two, pair of goals. O'Neal being very creative, not much on the scoreboard, but being very creative. Liked again, I like this offense. They can just gel with anybody. And like I said to you guys earlier, I'm figuring that Carolina's playbook was going to be easy and simple. Just use Chad Palumbo's big body to just be down low and create havoc. And it wasn't the case at all. Denver just figured out how to shut them down.
Yeah, 31 minutes going scoreless is definitely not a winning formula. So
no, not at all.
And it's not the first stretch of that much time that we've seen this season for a team to go scoreless. So
no, and you cannot be taking especially with Denver, you can't take your foot off the gas pedal. Not once. Now I get it. Like again, you're dealing with the injuries through the course of the game. That sucks. But you're trying to your offense still needs to be able to find other ways now. And Denver now has put this team in chess. Was playing chess while this team was playing checkers. Like you're going to have to think outside the box a little bit. Other than Owen Hills, other than Chad Palumbo, you need other scoring options out there. And I know that they have it. It's just that for like you just mentioned, Mike, for 2 quarters, you don't find the back of the net. That's an issue. That's an issue for a long time. And like I said, for third quarter, I mean, both of these teams weren't really doing anything offensively. It was more of a defensive game. Only 1 goal in the third quarter, but it was the first and fourth was pretty much your story right there. And like I said, both teams go, now this puts Denver up, and now the PL is going to come to Denver's backyard. But Denver's got themselves a tough challenge. They got Utah coming up, and then they got Philly. But, I'm about to talk to you guys about the Philly game as well. But yes, Owen Hills had a pair of goals. Teddy Malone had a pair of goals. Sperano had a pair of goals. Palumbo only had 1 goal. Shane Block only had 1 goal. So that's alarming. He usually puts up a pair or more or a hat trick. But again, Kavanaugh with a pair of goals. Lesanowski with a hat trick. Barnhart with a pair of goals. So again, you got multiple looks from multiple different players from Denver. But then we had action a little later on in the evening.
We lost Pat. We lost Pat. Wait a minute. Pat's back. Hi, Pat. You're looking well.
There I am. I don't know what happened.
In mid-sentence at that.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. But anyway, Saturday night, we had some action, and I didn't realize how important Matt DeLuca meant to this Water Dogs team. And the most important position on the field is the goalie. And I don't know if it's because of weather, playing an X Factor into it, but Matt DeLuca going down looked like he twisted his knee. And that was all she wrote because Sean Burns came in and I know he came from Army, and this was like, hey, welcome to the PLL. There goes Connor Fields and try and slow that guy down over there. And not just him, Trey Leclerc, try to slow him down too. And we're going to feed you right to the fire, feed you right to the wolves, my friend. You're going to have to put up with that. So, and that's what happened. You're down to your backup goalie. He's fresh. He's brand new to the PLL. Second game ever he gets to play, and he goes against a tall order. And Utah they were shooting their arrows, and there was nothing he could do but other than nothing and like it. So this Archers team again find themselves getting a couple wins now, back-to-back wins, smell themselves a little bit. Now it looks like Denver's going to have themselves quite the challenge Connor Fields playing at that MVP level, we know he can do. Yeah, it was a tough go around, tough go around for Philly. And then another big thing is they took your boy out there, Gary. CJ Kurz, not an X factor.
He was cursed.
He was cursed. I mean, now granted, this was a better game for Michael Sowers. Michael Sowers put up a hattie, which is great. But you lose 18-8. You're taking out their stud player. He was not an X factor, and which scares me because I thought again Philly was going to have the guys of the. Or if CJ Kurz ain't going to step up, someone else is going to have to take the lead. Other than Michael Sowers looked okay, but I mean, where's Cameron McArdle? I mean, he had 3 assists, which is nice, but still, Jack Hanna had a nice little filthy goal. One over, in between 2 defenders, he makes that no look over his shoulder, goal. But outside of that, I mean, they need a one scoring option, and Michael Sowers is nice, but I don't know when you have a playmaker who averages 5 goals a game, and then being left to lead with 1 goal, yeah, that's an issue. But you also got to remember too, Philly's very, very young, very young. Josh Hugo, a couple of the other kid, Matt. Why am I drawing Paulson? I mean, he's got some whip on him. But, again, you need more guys who are going to be able to put up multiple goals a game. And right now it's only Sowers and it's only CJ. So without those two really kind of ringing the bell for you, it kind of sucks. Now, like I said, the Archers just listen, they smelled blood in the water and they took full liberties. Connor Fields, 4 goals. Like I said, playing at an MVP level. You had Trey Leclerc, who went completely off in that second half. 3 goals, 2 assists. I mean, he was a monster. And then you Mac O'Keefe, who knows how sling the ball a little bit. 2 goals. So tough when you lose your star goalie and then you leave yourself open season.
Absolutely. And my thinking of CJ Kurz being cursed. Yeah, that's not going to happen kind of thing. But that's a one-off. Watch his next game. It seems to happen with The Rock too. If you were to shut him down one game, he'll get 4 the next game. So, I didn't bet on Philadelphia this week, and it was the only win I had. I may bet on them next week. So, guys, take notes. You'd be betting against Philadelphia.
I just got to know, how serious is Matt DeLuca going to be out for? I mean, I don't know. Is it a torn ACL? I mean, the way he went down holding his knee looked pretty
never
bad.
A good sign. Never a good sign.
Yeah.
No, and
contact injuries where you're holding a knee is not a good thing.
So I don't know if the
I'm sure we'll know by Tuesday or Wednesday if we see that they sign someone else or
right,
or we see him on the injury report. So
because if not, they're going to have to start fishing. They might have to start fishing for another goalie, and it stinks because I feel like if you had DeLuca in there, you could have gave Utah a little bit of a better fight. But the fact that this was on rainy surfaces, the grass is wet. A lot, like I said, not just this game, Carolina game. A couple guys are going down because of the weather, because they caught in, I don't know if it's a cleats thing or what, but a lot of guys went down this weekend, and it stinks because that's what it was, kind of like a layup for Utah. Utah took full advantage of a backup goalie, and this kid's wet behind the ears, hasn't played in almost 2 months. You took full advantage of it, and you beat him up. So that was a kind of a layup win, though, and it stinks. So, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully this ain't going to be a long season thing, because this is the wrong time to be getting injured, especially when you're now sitting at 4-3. So you got and you got Utah coming up, and I believe you have not Utah. You got Denver on Sunday night, but you got someone, I believe, Friday night as well.
You have New York on Friday, and New York has
Right.
got their own set of problems, as we'll find out in a minute. Like they've changed any in the last couple
Don't
of
sound
weeks.
so impressed, Gary. Yeah.
The only thing good about it is it's a 10:30 game, so most of us will be tucked into bed and we don't have to watch it. Because, man, I used to stay up for Atlas games. Now I look for when I have to go to bed because I don't want to see it. People want NASCAR to watch the car crash. I turn the thing off now. I don't want to see this car crash anymore.
All right.
Trying
Yeah.
to gauge it today, and trying to keep up with the scores while I was doing the OSL playoffs. It was, oh my God, it's just painful. It's just painful to look at.
And it's weird because you heard the hype, like, oh yeah, Travis Batiste will be back next week, and I guess that meant nothing.
No, you don't have Jeff Teat in the lineup, and Entenmann is looking ordinary this year,
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
and that hurts when you're a guy who's fished you out of the fire, and was a big reason why you hoisted a cup last year, because Entenmann probably had a career year last year, and you go from there to complete, into the foundation, not even hit the ground, right into the foundations, and having a rough time. I don't know if it's having a rough time seeing it or feeling it or doing it or whatever, or somewhere along the line we're going to hear about some form of injury. But wow, to go from red or white hot to absolutely ice cold, and it goes throughout the entire team. And you build out from the goalie. Well, you also play out from the goalie, and if he's having a rough time, then you're gripping a stick and you're not so apt to want to take chances. So that kind of eliminates a lot of the things that they were good at freewheeling, and that leaves them to be very predictable. And defenses can plan, and especially professional defenses can plan well how to stop predictable offenses. And we're watching that this year. And you don't have the creator, the conductor, if you will, of Jeff Teat to kind of, mess with what you think he's going to do. Because if you think he's going to do something, he's going to be on the other side doing something altogether different, which includes celebrating a goal.
But like going back to your original point too, Gary, about Entenmann, it's just weird. Like, again, I've watched this kid who won his championships, and then you go from 2024 win the NCAA championship, 2025 win the PLL championship, and then it's just like, I don't know if the clock struck midnight on this guy, or hey, listen, the league's adapting to you now, and you haven't adapted back, or maybe just the defense is not as good as you. You would know better than me, but I don't know.
I think it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. Is the league's adapting? He hasn't changed. But the league is also so much, you're talking about the best players in the world.
Yeah.
Right.
That's kind of what I'm thinking of that defense. You're talking about, how shaky Entenmann's been now. Like, what does that do with that defense, especially when maybe you're losing a little bit of that trust now, or maybe, you're pushing a little bit more. You're afraid of giving up that shot and not knowing if your goalie's going to stop it.
Which sets you out to be out of position a lot.
Yeah.
With a very, very astute offensive coordinator can draw it up that you are out of position because they know that they're going to come and take that extra risk to block that lane. And with the right blueprint, time and time again, with that kind of area and room, both behind the net and in front, you can do a lot of damage. And if you got a goalie who's unsure, then
I wonder too.
I just hop in 2 quick things with that. One, I think Danny Logan has been kind of in and out of the lineup.
Right.
That's, if I'm not mistaken, that's your reigning short stick defensive midi of the year. And second, are we starting to see that maybe this Gavin Adler for Ben Randall trade to Philly is working out more in Philly's favor and not so much in New York's?
Yeah, I would call that an 80-20. Because it didn't work in
right now, because Adler's doing a superb job in Philly right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not hearing a whole lot about how Ben Randall's doing for the Atlas.
Well, the proof is in the pudding, right? It's not on any one person, but collectively, they're not doing their assignments, obviously. And in return, the goalie, well, the person who gets blamed and hung out is the goalie. But I'd like to think that, we got, of course, he's got to take his share of the blame. But when your defense isn't doing, or they're not trusting what you're doing, and they're doing other things, it's a compounding problem.
Mm-hmm.
Someone has to actually reset this defensive zone that they are and get them back to what they were doing. Because right now, if you started here, we're over here now, just with making adjustments and changing. And, well, I don't know if he's going to do it. And nobody knows what everybody's doing. What made them so successful last year was everybody knew where everybody was. Everybody knew what everybody was doing. And everybody had faith in everybody else to do their job. Nothing other than just their job. When you start trying to do too much because you think the other guy isn't doing it, now we got a problem. Because now you get people out of position because they're trying to do his job, but he's there.
So there could be a lack of communication. And two, I don't know if Edmonds privately deal with an injury that he's not sharing with anybody. And that could be a sign behind the scenes, like, hey, listen, maybe he took a shot to the knee, and hey, listen, I don't want to ever take that shot again. So he maybe privately dealing with like a leg injury or some kind of injury that he's not.
Right, from a couple of years ago, until it was made known that he was hurt. We're wondering what's going on, both in box and in field.
Right.
And he finally admitted to being hurt and took time off, and he became the Dylan Ward we remember. But yeah, that's a whole other thing too, when you're afraid of getting a shot.
Because I forget what game I watched him. It might have been against Philly, but he looked like he took a shot to the knee, and he kind of reacted to it a certain way. So that, to me, it's appealing. Like you said, he doesn't look like the Edmund that we've all known, and maybe he's just privately, hey, listen, I'm dealing with something that I'm not ready to say what it is, or maybe, like I said, maybe it's a kneecap, maybe it's a thigh that he's dealing with.
I was going to say, the other thing that just kind of jumped out at me, too, is, Trevor Baptiste was 15 and 27 at the faceoffs. I mean, yeah, it's 55%, but, I mean, usually he is dominant.
Yeah, 80 to 95. But he wasn't that in the NLL either, so I'm wondering about him there.
Yeah.
So is the book out on him, or have guys learned to work around some of his strengths? Because, again, it's 2 clamps quicker, right?
Yeah.
So, you saw Nick Rowlett do it to him, but he did it to Jake Nasso. He did it to Jake Withers as well, coming out of nowhere to be now an elite face-off guy. Not at an expense or anything, but when I saw him last, his thumb was in a cast. So, not that he wasn't paying a price doing it, But it's gonna be interesting because the Atlas dropped yet another one, 15 to 13 to the Cannons, and I believe that the score is a lot closer than what the game was, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I mean, it was 4-4 after one, and then it was 11-8 Atlas at halftime.
And then the roof fell in.
7-2. The Cannons outscore them in the second half, including blanking them in the third.
And there it is. There's always one throughout this year where they have stunk up the joint.
Yeah, and maybe this is more concerning because of, where the offense came from the Cannons. I mean, you got a hat trick from Mikey Weissar and a hat trick from Jack Ragneri. Marcus Holman had a goal, a 2-point goal, and an assist. But then you've just got single goals from, Coulter Mackesy, Connor Kurse, Graydon Hogg, Ben Ramsey, Owen Grant, Brian Kelly. So I mean, the ball's being spread around, but you expect bigger numbers out of Mackesy, maybe out of Hogg, and especially out of Marcus Holman.
I agree.
But,
I agree.
I mean, a win's a win, too. Especially when, you were in last place like Boston was. So, for the Atlas, I mean, Matt Traynor, a hat trick and an assist. Xander Dixon had a hat trick. Reed Bowering had a pair of goals. Brian Costabile, a goal, a 2-point goal and an assist. Hugh Kelleher, a goal and an assist. But Connor Schellenberger, just 3 assists. So
that's another one.
Yeah. I think we can compare that to what Pat just mentioned earlier with Kieran McArdle. Hey, yeah, you're getting the assists, but you didn't become the all-time franchise points leader for 2 different pro lacrosse field franchises by just dishing out assists. Kieran McArdle needs to be scoring goals too. So, same way Schellenberger needs to be finding the back of the net for New York.
Yeah. It's a frustrating year. It's the first one in a couple that I've had to sit through, because there was a year where we're just shy. Then there was a year where we hoisted. And now it's back about 4 years ago, and I don't like it.
Yeah, but I mean, can you give any team in the PLL an edge right now with the way the standings are?
No.
I mean, just when you think a team puts up, I mean,
well, just
right now it's going to be Whip Snakes.
The parity's insane this year. Like, the parity's just insane.
2 weeks ago, they win 17-10. Now they win 27. Watch them get blown out by 15 next week. when you think the Whip Snakes are just going to take control. So, I think that applies to every team right now. I mean, it's wide open. I mean, even for the Chaos, who are, now 2 games under 500 and they're last in the West. I mean, yeah, you have some injuries now, some major injuries to deal with. You're going to have to fill in the gaps here, but I mean, with 4 games to go, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, all they need to do is not be in last place in their division.
It is wild though. Like, again, Mike, you just mentioned about injuries. That's going to be. I mean, I know it's a no-brainer answer, but it's a lot of these guys don't have that hungry dog in them. Like, the injuries is holding weight to a lot of these teams. Like, again, if Matt DeLuca is going to be out, is it going to be a little time? Because if it's going to be a long time thing, they could find themselves out of it, unless the backup kid, Sean Bryan, makes a difference in his game. Jeff Teat not being run from New York has took this team out of the race, but not completely out of the race. I mean, they're still hanging around. They're still finding, it comes down to their goalie. Again, no one's really, with 2 years when I started really getting into PLL, the Water Dogs only had 2 wins. I mean, this is a year where everyone's still, it's a neck and neck race between all these teams, all 8 teams. It's going to be hard for the judge to say which team doesn't deserve to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, that was just the point I was going to make. I'm just looking at the overall standings, and now I know it has nothing to do with playoff placement, obviously, but your number 1 team is the Whip Snakes at 5-3. Your last place team, the Atlas, are 3-5. So I mean, between 1 and 8, it's a 2-game difference. I mean, usually this time of year, someone's definitely out of it.
True.
I agree on that as well. Alrighty, upcoming, we have Utah, Denver, Philadelphia, New York, Boston, Carolina, Maryland, Utah. Interesting week ahead. Hopefully New York can. Sorry, Pat. Find the right side up.
And
You also have Philly
Have to
and
be betting a
Denver.
cheesesteak on that one, I think.
You also
Cheesesteak
have-
against the chicken wrap.
There's actually 5 games. Philly and Denver play too. So
It'll be a rough week for you, Pat.
yeah.
Oh, hey, listen, I think I'll take a nap throughout the day and then stay up through the night. It's going to be a vampire weekend.
Or you can do stuff you want during the day, and you can be there all night long as an owl. Just trying
Yeah,
to watch it.
it depends. It
If
depends.
we watch Olympics from Turin, Italy, or something like that, and 3 a.m. we're watching the Canada USA game.
Yeah. Well, listen, if it's the Sun Nighter, and we're looking at the 9 o'clock hour, and just say that the Brandon O'Neills and Pat Commonwealth are already doing a number on the War Dogs, I'll go to bed. I don't see Nick anymore. I don't listen. I seen Uncle Bill Tierney get mad enough this whole weekend. I don't need to see it anymore. When he looked like he was fuming, and I was like, but he understands. Like, you're down your backup goalie. This is what happens.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
It's just my turn this year, and it sucks, but it's happening. So it is what it is. Pat, thank you as always, man.
Anytime,
Great
gents.
time talking PLL with you.
Same, gents, all the time, guys. It's been great, and listen, we'll stay tuned. Maybe I can bring some dessert. Nothing this week. Hopefully, Matt DeLucia, and if he's going to be hurt long term, I might be chewing on my notebook. So that's fine. It won't be my first rodeo.
We're gonna have to start looking at you and some goalie equipment.
Me or Gritty, one of us, someone's going to get in
Yeah,
there.
there you go.
It may not be a bad idea, actually. He's
Yeah.
got the chutzpah to do it, so we'll have to start thinking about it.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But again, guys, thank you so much. I'll talk to you guys next week.
Absolutely, Pat. Take care as always. That was Pat Bernard with his PLL report, and we're looking forward to seeing him again next week. All right, Shawn, why don't you take us through a little bit of Western fun and festivity? Because, of course, as always, it doesn't make much sense.
Nope.
And, why would we start
Never. Well, I'll start with the BC division with junior A just because it does actually make a little bit of sense. On Monday, I guess this week they wrapped up the regular season and just got into playoffs this weekend. To wrap up the regular season on Monday, you had the Shamrocks 10-4 win over the Delta Islanders. On Tuesday, New Westminster took a 12-9 loss to the Port Coquitlam Saints. Wednesday, the Adnacks keep rolling. 15-7 win over the Bellies. Thursday, Port Coquitlam Saints 15-11 win over the Langley Thunder. So let's set up our playoffs. 1 versus 4, which is the Adnacks versus the Thunder, and 2 versus 3, which would be Victoria against Port Coquitlam. And game 1 of the Shamrock series started yesterday with Victoria taking an 11-9 win in the best of 5 series. And so tonight you have the Shamrocks and Saints in game 2, and then Langley and Coquitlam start their playoff series also tonight. Over to Rocky Mountain Lacrosse Junior A, and here's where nothing makes sense ever. So we have 2 series. We have the Okotoks Raiders, the Okotoks Raiders against the Winnipeg Blizzards in a best of 5 series, and the Calgary Mounties against the Edmonton Miners in a best of 7 series. Yeah, figure that one out. I'll give you time to figure that one out, but
or something like that.
I don't know if it's travel or what because it's Winnipeg, but I don't know why you're playing a 5 game in one and a 7 game in the other. Anyways, game 1 went Friday night, and it's the same box score here, so I don't know if it's actual final or not, but the Raiders took an 11-8 win. Game 2 was on Saturday, and this was a final. The Raiders taking a 15-1 win over the Blizzards. And game 3 was just this afternoon. Again, I'm not sure if this is a final, but if it is, Raiders took a 10-3 win. So they take a 3-0 sweep of that series and will move on to the finals. And in the other series, game 1, the Calgary Miners and the Calgary Mounties and the Edmonton Miners. Edmonton took a 10-9 win last night. And then just this afternoon, the Mounties came back with a 10-9 win as well. So that game is tied 1-1 in that series.
All right. Where it all makes sense. At least we can make sense of it. Kind of. Sort of.
Sort of.
All right. Moving right along and into Ontario Junior Lacrosse League. And, well, shall we say last rites for the Kitchener team? Where we might see a first-round pick in the year 2074.
I think our grandchildren will see the first-round pick.
4 games to 1, they lost to Oakville. Now, granted, Tavares' son, Justin, is a big part of why Oakville made the leap, but 4 games to 1? Wow. Wow, I say. But, hey, that's just me going, But, anyways, we are on the verge of a few of these things going goodbye. Well, the St. Catharines series is now over. They won 10-5 this evening, and that is now 4-1. Burlington won the first game of the series last week, as we were stunned to talk about, but that was it. St. Catharines took over from there, and that series is over. We look at the Six Nations and Orangeville series, and, well, right now, as we speak, Orangeville's up 3 games to 2, and they're up 12-11 with, well, they're in overtime. So they are playing the full period out. So we'll see. Orangeville holds on, and Six Nations, the arrows are gone, and the Northmen will be moving on. We have the Whitby and Brampton series, which is at 3 games to 2 for Whitby. And as Paul told us, tomorrow is in Brampton for game 6. Now, if Brampton pulls it out, we have a game 7 that will be on Tuesday at the Iroquois Park Sports Arena in Whitby. So stay tuned because, man, there are some things going on. Man, this is going to be a great down-to-the-wire thing to sending teams to the Minto, I'll tell you that. And out west this year for it. So only one team is going. From there, we move ourselves over into the award winners for Ontario Series Lacrosse. And, well, we have, for most valuable player, Thunder Hill from the Six Nations Rivermen. Most defensive player, Caleb Cannell from the Belleville Kodiaks. Most sportsmanlike player, Graham Bergsma from the Collingwood Crews. Most dedicated player, Reagan Martinell from the Ennismore James Gang. Best two-way player was Chris Harlan from the Collingwood Crews. Rookie of the Year, Liam Volans from the Ennismore James Gang. The coaching staff of the year, the Brooklyn Merchants. Goaltenders of the year are from the Brooklyn Merchants of Thomas Kizak, Ryan Shikowski, and Ethan Harwood. The leading scorer, drum roll, please. Wait, I can do that. Thunder Hill. And there you have it. Now, the playoffs started for our Ontario Series Lacrosse this weekend, and they were best 2 out of 3 series between one was the Collingwood Crews and the Owen Sound North Stars, which was your 3 versus 6, and 4 versus 5 was Hamilton going against the Ennismore James Gang. Now, it was a Cam Sanderson's OT heroics that stunned the North Stars in a comeback in game 1, in which Owen Sound beat Collingwood 8-7 as your final score, but it took a while to get there. And unbelievable, the goaltending was superb in this game. Cam Sanderson had a game of games. He was the first star in the game, including the game winner. The following night, which was yesterday, the Crews and the North Stars went on at it in game 2, and the Collingwood Crews bounced back on home floor, defeating the Owen Sound North Stars 7-6. Not like these things are like the normal 3 versus 6, eh? Over at Eddie Bush. Collingwood received a balanced offensive production with Braden Hickey scoring twice, while Josh Sanchez added a pair of his own. Graham Bergsma, Austin Farrell also found the score sheet during a pivotal second period that swung the momentum in favor of the Crews. Owen Sound pushed relentlessly in the final frame, outshooting Collingwood overall 49-48. Mancini delivered several key saves in the final few minutes for that victory, 7-6 Collingwood. And they stayed alive for another day until today, in which, well, the cream rose to the top. And, it was 3-2 for Owen Sound after one period. However, in comes the second period, and, well, the Michael Blameyer story comes in, and he scored back-to-back goals in that second period. And altogether, Owen Sound scored 5 in that second period to take an 8-3 lead, in which they never relinquished. 10-4 is your final. And Owen Sound now is gone next round to face the Brooklyn Merchants in the semifinals in the best of 7. Over in the other series, we had the Hamilton Bengals against the Ennismore James gang. And although it looked like Hamilton was going to run away with this thing, they always were around was Ennismore, and they put up a heck of a fight. In game 1, they lost 14-12. They fought hard, but just was in too deep a hole that they originally put themselves in, and that was the end of that. This afternoon was the rubber match, shall we say, game 2. And, well, Hamilton got the best start that they could. They got out to a 4-0 lead in the first period, never really looked back. It was 8-4 after 2, and the final was 12-6 for Hamilton. They move on, and their award is they get to face the Six Nations Rivermen in the semifinals in a best of 7, which will start this coming weekend. So, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And that is what's going on in Ontario Series Lacrosse for the time being. Shall we go over to some WLA and, shall we amuse this Shamrocks kind of fan?
Yeah, we can do that. We will start last Sunday after we got off the air. Victoria keeps on rolling. Came right away with a 8-3 win over the Nanaimo Timbermen. Shamrocks, the really quick start, up 5-1 in the first. Timbermen came back a little bit in the second. It was 6-5 hanging into the 6-3 after the second, and then Victoria shut the door after that. Ulrich stopped all 9 shots he faced in the third period. 2 more goals by the Shamrocks to close that one out. For Victoria, a hat trick and an assist for Marshall King. Zach Mads with 2 goals, 2 assists from Patrick Dodds, goal and an assist from Kyle Pepper. I also got a whole goal from Jacob Hickey and Chris Wardle. As I mentioned, Origlieri between the pipes, stopped 42 of 50 or 45 shots. For Nanaimo, I got 2 goals from Noah Manning, 2 assists from Tristan Kirkham, a goal from Andrew Bowman, and pretty quiet night after that for the Timbermen in goal. Colby Bowman stopped 40 of 48 shots in the loss. So then we head into, I believe it was Tuesday, sorry. And Maple Ridge trying to keep pace in second place there in the standings, came with a 6-5 win over the New Westminster Salmon Bellies. And actually, close game is 4-4 after the second. The Burrards come with 2 quick goals in the third, power play marker from Garrett Winter. And then 4 minutes in, Riley Lowen makes it 6-4. Ben Sowen scores shorthanded, actually quite early, but they just could not find the equalizer for the Salmon Bellies. For the Burrards, Marcus Claridge, 2 goals, 3 assists. Drew Andre, a goal and 2 assists. He had a goal and assist each for Riley Lowen and Garrett Winter. Also a goal from Peyton Cormier. Between the pipes, Jack Kask, 33 out of 38 shots. Well, for the Salmon Bellies, he had Dylan McIntosh, 2 goals and an assist. Noah Armitage and Will McKay, each with a goal and 2 assists. Also got that goal from Sonnen. And between the pipes was Ashton LeClaire, and he stopped 37 of 42 shots as the Salmon Bellies just fell short against the Burrards. And on Wednesday, Langley Thunder trying to get their way out of the basement with a big 11-5 win over the Burnaby Lakers. And I think the big story here was Alex Bouquet got the start in goal for the Langley Thunder. He faced 58 shots and stopped 53 for the win. So he faced a lot of rubber, and he was just outstanding in this one. And right from the get-go, Langley was up 5-1, up 9-3 through 2. And that's pretty much all she wrote, really. For Langley, Dante Koulis, 2 goals, 4 assists, 4 goals from Connor Watson, a goal and 3 assists from Max Semple, a goal and 2 assists from Devin Pfeiffer. In goal, like I mentioned, Alex Bouquet, huge night. For Burnaby, Finn Halliday, goal, a goal and 2 assists. Tyler Kirkby, same thing, a goal, 2 assists. Also got a goal from Ethan Emlott. Also goals from Ryan Favreau and Austin Ducommon. And in goal, Mark Ripberger and Keegan Malenchuk split time in this one. Then the one I kind of had marked on the calendar, Friday night, Victoria Shamrocks and Coquitlam Adanacs, with all the moves the Adanacs had made with Connor Robinson coming in and Robert Church. I felt maybe they could give Victoria a run for their money. Well, Victoria did come away. Yeah, Victoria did come away with a 12-8 win. Man, high scoring first period though. Victoria was ahead 6-5 after, and they were ahead 11-7 after 2. And boy, did this one get rough too. You could tell there was a lot on the line. About 3 minutes left in the second. Christian Del Bianco takes a 5-minute unsportsmanlike conduct. Ari Stevens didn't like it too much. Him and Remo Shinato dropped the gloves, and in all that too, Del Bianco gets tossed with an unsportsmanlike conduct, so he's thrown out of the game. And there's video. It was a brawl, and in total here, Shamrocks hat trick from Zach Mans and 2 assists, goal and 4 assists from Marshall King, 2 goals and 2 assists from Luke Pilcher. Same with Patrick Dodds. Eli McLaughlin, 2 goal and 2 assists. He also had 2 goals from Matthew Gauthier. And again, Oreg, 41 of 49 in the win. For the Adnaks, 2 goals and 3 assists from David Cherney. He's actually been playing really well lately. Adam Noakes, 2 goals, 2 assists. Hat trick and assist from Jalen Chaster. He had 3 assists from Keen Moon. And as mentioned, Del Bianco did get the start, although he did get that game misconduct for the unsportsmanlike conduct, as things got a little bit chippy in this one. And throw it to Mike for the other Saturday game.
Yeah.
So you had,
so you had Nanaimo and Burnaby Friday night, and Nanaimo snaps their losing streak with a 13-10 win. They led 5-3 after the first period and 10-7 after the second. Matt Boas had 2 goals, 2 assists, 2 goals and an assist from Jeremy Wudrick, a goal and 4 assists from Andrew Bowman. Noah Manning and Gord Phillips each had 2 goals. Colby Bowman, 48 saves in net for the Timbermen. For Burnaby, Ryan Favreau, 4 goals, 2 assists. Tyler Kirkby, a hat trick and 3 assists. Then you got single goals from Carter Torok, Ben Stewart, and Jake Young. Ethan Emlott had 4 assists, and Mark Rickberger made 34 saves. Timbermen come back the next night and double up New Westminster, 18-9. That's a series regular season sweep, by the way, for the Timbermen over the Salmon Bellies, and basically puts Nanaimo's magic number to make the playoffs at 1. A win or a New West loss from here on out will give Nanaimo the 4th and final playoff spot, and New West will be missing the playoffs. Top scorers for Nanaimo Saturday night: Ryan Sheridan, 4 goals and an assist. Noah Manning, 2 goals and 7 assists for 9 points. Andrew Bowman had 4 goals and 3 assists. He had 3 and 1 from Josh Gabriel. Matt Boas, 2 goals, 3 assists. Colton Lidstone, 2 goals and an assist. And Colby Bowman, 38 saves in net. For New West, Will Malcolm had 4 goals. Drops off from there. Noah Armitage, a goal and 4 assists. Lucas Nielsen, a goal and 2 assists. A goal and an assist each for Cam Ickert and Will McKay. Owen Ron held just 2 assists on the night. And Ashton LeClaire and Liam Froese combined for 39 saves. And that puts Nanaimo back at 500. They're at 8-8. New West is at 5-9.
I guess the other game on Saturday, the Quill Madnax kind of tightened up that race for second place. They picked up a 12-6 win over the Burrards. Again, Christian Del Bianco stopped all 13 shots in the first period. As Adnax took a 4-0 lead, Nax were up 5-0 early in the second. We're actually up 11-3 after the second period. The Bards did outscore the Adnax 3-1 in the third, but it was really kind of too little too late there. And 31 shots on net for the Adnax too, so a ton of rubber. And again, another Adnax game where things just kind of boiled over a little bit in the third period. Reese Bauer takes a slashing minor off the Maple Ridge. James Ray kind of takes exception to that and gets a roughing minor. But Reese Blake jumps in and starts a fight. So he gets the fighting major. He also gets the instigator. And then so Jalen Chaster decides he's going to jump in as well. So now he's third man in. And then Reese Blake also gets the excessive majors assessment on a game misconduct. 'cause he actually got 2 fighting majors in that one, and there's a sportsmanlike conduct, game misconduct from Jalen Chester, and it was just a mess, another mess. And
Tell me
so
that
with
doesn't
that,
mean anything to these guys.
yeah,
Games don't mean
you
everything.
know,
to
like,
these
tell me that we're not getting close to the end of the season and guys are battling for playoff spots now, right? Like,
And these two teams are probably headed for a best of 5 in the first round against
yeah.
each other. So
I mean, you look at the 2 games that Coquitlam played to this week, one being Victoria, the number 1 team they're trying to chase down, and then Maple Ridge, who they're trying to chase down for second. 2 big games that, you know, have a lot of meaning in the standings. Anyways, Robert Church back in the lineup. He had a hat trick and 3 assists for 6 points. David Cherney, like I said, has been playing really good this week. 2 goals, 3 assists. A goal and 3 assists from James Ray before he got turfed. 3 assists from Connor Robinson. He had a goal and an assist from Clark Walter. 2 assists from Keen Moon. Riley Isaacs and Chapter both had 2 goals for the Adnax. And mentioned Christian Del Bianco stopped 33 of 39 shots. Andrew Glant did see a little bit of time and stopped all 3 shots he saw in a little over a minute of work. From Maple Ridge, Garrett Winter had 2 goals and an assist. A goal and 2 assists from Marcus Clarich. Hat trick from Peyton Cormier. Dagan Carlson, he had a pair of assists from him. And between the pipes, Jack Cask, like I said, 39 saves, but he was pelted with 51 shots. So I guess coming up as we kind of start wrapping things up, tonight we have Langley and Maple Ridge. Come Wednesday, a pair of games. You have Nanaimo and Victoria, and New Westminster against Langley. Thursday, you have New Westminster against Coquitlam. Friday, Langley against Burnaby. Saturday, you have Nanaimo Timbermen against the Adnax. And then Sunday, you have Burnaby Lakers against Victoria Shamrocks.
All righty.
and that game next Saturday is going to be big with Nanaimo and Coquitlam because that's kind of for third place almost. So
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Going to be interesting to say the least. All right, that brings us over to the East. And, well, interesting week. Kind of. We start off with Tuesday, and Owen Sound, at Juggernaut at 113 at that point, was facing the Six Nations Chiefs at 13-0 at that point. And, well, do I really need to go into it all? 17-2 was the final in this one. It was exactly the way it sounds. It was a beatdown of beatdowns. It was 9-1 after one, and it didn't get any better. It was 15-2 after two, and then in third it was play keep away and just kind of bring it home, and that's the end of that over at the ILA on Tuesday. However, the one thing that was interesting in all of this, the next night, Six Nations went into Brooklyn. And, well, Brooklyn's been hot and cold all year. Well, in this game, they put a little scare into Six Nations, I'll tell you that, because they finished this game, and it was 9-7 for Six Nations. And for the most part, this game went back and forth with both teams having leads. Let's say for a while, it looked like Brooklyn might be the team to finally hand the Chiefs their first loss. Home side raced out to a 2-0 lead, continued to push the pace throughout the night, but every time momentum shifted, Six Nations had an answer. And it just is the same thing, wave after wave. Dane Smith once again pulled the strings offensively with 5 points. Josh Burton scored twice in a balanced attack, which saw contributions throughout the lineup as always. Brooklyn refused to go quietly. They got a hat trick from Dyson Williams, 6 points from Chris Bouchy. And this was by far the best showing that I had seen Brooklyn, even in their wins. And they're peaking, if that's the case, at the right time as we're heading into the home stretch now. Peterborough and Oakville got together in Peterborough. And this was an interesting game, to say the least, is that it went back and forth. It was 3-2 Oakville, 3-3 after one, in which Holden Catoni gave them the lead with about 1:13 left in the period. But with 51 seconds left in the period, Alex Simmons tied it up. And this was the theme of our night. At one point, Oakville was up 10-6, in which Drew Hutchison was pulled and Nick Rose went in. And that looked to be the remedy because, well, Peterborough rhymed off 5 in a row, 6 in a row. It was 12-10 for Peterborough down the stretch. And at that point, the Rock replaced Evan Konstantopoulos with Landon Kells. Well, Sam Leclerc brought Oakville with one on a power play, and that was with about 3.5 minutes left. At 3 minutes even left in the game, crease dive from Carson Moyer. Man, I say that a lot. Carson Moyer and third period heroics. Well, that tied the game up. With under a minute to go, loose ball, Jake Darlison scoops it up, outruns the Peterborough defender, goes in on his NLL teammate of Nick Rose, and with 32 seconds left, gives you the game winner. And Oakville beats Peterborough 13-12 to come away with the victory. What a game.
Victory and a season sweep. Peterborough.
Yes, exactly. And when they're this close in the standings at this juncture in time, that's huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
Now, we head on over to Coburg and Brampton that same evening, and it looked like Coburg was going to do their thing. It was 8-4 Coburg after one. After two. 5-1 Coburg after one. 8-4 after two. But somebody woke up the Excelsiors. And by the end of this game, Coburg barely ran away with the win at 13-11. So this kind of marks into our next story, in which Brampton and Owen Sound met Saturday. And though Owen Sound got out to a pretty good start, and really, it was 7-7 after 40 minutes, 3-3 after one, 7-7 after two. All of a sudden, this gear that Brampton hasn't had all year, showed up. And they outscored Owen Sound 6-1 to come away with a 13-8 victory. Thomas McConvey was one of the stars of the game. Ty Scott, I'm hearing more and more of his name in Excelsior's games, and he is involved in most everything going on in the offensive end. He's going to be something. He had a couple of goals in this game as well. We fast forward into this evening, and we had Coburg and Oakville battling it out over at the Jack Berger Arena because they want heat. And, heat is what they got. And, we finished tonight off with Oakville coming away with a 9-7 victory. Hard fought at that. It was 2-1 for Coburg after one. Again, Alex Marinier and Zach Thompson having big games for the Coburg Kodiaks. It was a big second period for Oakville, scoring 5 times. and they were up 6-5 after 2, held on in the third for the 9-7 victory. Again, Carson Moyer, Isaiah Moran-Weeks, and Alex Simmons with big games for Oakville. Looking ahead to this week, we have Six Nations and Oakville battling it out tomorrow at the track. Six Nations is at it again against Coburg. That's the game I'm more interested in seeing than even the Rock game. I think Coburg is an upstart enough team that's been together long enough. You're worried about what David Anderson away was going to do. I believe Jason Knox has filled that void very nicely. And Alex Marinier can't miss of recent. So if Lane Ruska has a good game, this could be one hell of a game to watch. If you are not a Flow subscriber, become a Flow subscriber, and you too can watch this game live and in color from the beautiful living room of your choice. On Wednesday, Brampton heads into Brooklyn, and let's see if Brooklyn can parlay what they were doing last week and continue the good feeling, because the standings, when we get into that, everybody is on top of everybody. Coburg and Peterborough, I will be at that game on Thursday, and that's going to be a heck of a game to take a look at. We have a rare Friday night game in the Major Series Lacrosse, probably because Brampton and Peterborough usually play Thursdays, but Peterborough's already playing on a Thursday. So Friday evening they go, and away from the OJLL playoffs as well. Saturday, Brooklyn is over into Owen Sound, and we will see what happens there. Looking at the standings for this Major Series Lacrosse, of course, in first is Six Nations at 14-0. Oakville is still sitting in second now with an 11-4 record. Coburg, they were on their heels, man. It was 10-4 and 9-5 coming into today's game. A little more breathing room at 11-4, 9-6 for Oakville and Coburg. Peterborough is at 7-7, and Brooklyn is at 7-8 for that final playoff spot of number 4. So tell me that these games aren't important to these clubs going down the stretch here now with just a couple of games remaining. Brampton is at 3-13, and Owen Sound is at 1-14. And again, only a couple of games left in the season. The season will be over by August 1st. So we got a month left to go before the playoffs hit. And of course, 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. So again, if you're fighting to get into the playoffs just so you can face Six Nations, good luck to you. But that is the week that was. Quite the week, guys. Quite the week.
Yeah.
Now, once again, I'm going to put your foot to the fire for your game of the week, if you would, please. Mike, let's start with you.
Oh, boy.
PLL or WLL. And, I guarantee it's not the Atlas Philadelphia game.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I think I'm going to have to go Archers Outlaws. The first game of Week 10. That's going to be a big one. Our Archers have a really tough weekend. They've got to play the Outlaws, and then they've got to play the Whip Snakes. So I think we'll see whether we see the same team we've seen the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I agree. And it's going to be interesting. That's going to be a really good game. Shawn, your game of the week.
Yeah, you know what? I have to go with what Mike had mentioned earlier with the WLA and that Coquitlam and IMO game on Saturday, because there's just so much on the line on that one, because I don't think Coquitlam wants to drop down to number 4 there and potentially get on the teetering of missing the playoffs, especially with the moves they've made. And but I'm going to make a close second because you got back-to-back games with New Westminster on Wednesday and Thursday, and again they're kind of in that 5th spot, trying to find that trying to leapfrog Nanaimo and playing back-to-back nights could be difficult for them. But I think the game to watch is that Saturday because I think there's going to be a lot of implications there. And yeah, you drop down to 4-2, it's more than likely you're seeing Victoria in the first round. I don't think you want that.
Right. Agreed. For me, I mentioned it just before, it is going to be the Coburg Six Nations game, though I would give a strong second choice to the Oakville Six Nations games because, well, simply put, that's wow. And so close in everything. And Peterborough, they're going to have a big week against Brampton and against Coburg. Playing Thursday against Coburg is going to be a huge game as well. So there's a couple of real dandies this week. So again, if you're not a Flow subscriber, get to be one because, man, it is going to be fun. Anyways, that'll do us for this week. Just a reminder to everybody that we are on Facebook, we're on Twitter X, we're on Instagram, we're on Thread, we're on YouTube, as well as being on www.streampunkentertainment.com. Please visit us 3, 4, 5 times a day as the news is always changing. We are so close to free agency happening, even though we have teams that don't have homes yet. Interesting. You are going to be drafted. Never mind. Come to our parking lot. But hey, what can we say? But again, the news is always changing. Please visit us. We cannot tell you how much we're appreciative of everybody following us week in and week out, day in and day out, and all the comments and all the things, seeing people in the arenas. It has been just so much fun all summer long, and we're just the best is yet to come. We're coming into tournament season real soon. We'll have the founders, we'll have the Minto, we'll have the presidents, we'll have the man. It'll be just an absolute smorgasbord of lacrosse for you. And then we'll get about 6 weeks where we can breathe before the NLL training camps start. And away we go again for another round. But in the meantime, we appreciate everything that you are to us and we are to you. And like I say, we are your one-stop shop for all lacrosse needs. We are your Costco of lacrosse. So that brings us to last words. Shawn, let's start with you. Last words to you.
Yeah, kind of looking forward to how things kind of work out down the stretch in the WLA. As we kind of mentioned there with all those fights and melees going on this week, as you said, you don't think this matters to these guys. Far from it. They're battling tooth and nail to get into that playoffs and, represent the West. Represent the West against probably Six Nations, let's face it. But, yeah, just really looking forward to the next couple weeks, WLA.
Mike, to you.
Yeah, just a PLL is it's staying unpredictable. If you're picking a team like we are, might want to play opposites. Team did bad last week. You might want to pick them to win this week. Team won last week. You might want to pick them to lose this week. It's just been so topsy-turvy.
Absolutely. Right. Me personally, I just am loving it. The first round of playoffs in the books for the Ontario Series, and now we're going to be going into round 2 where the nitty-gritty happens before the finals, of course, and seeing who's going to go to the President's Cup in Edmonton the first week of September. And, of course, the race is heating up, of course, 2 through 4 for the MSL. One, I think, is I kind of got a chuckle when they mentioned on the broadcast on Tuesday that Six Nations has clinched that they can't do any worse than second. And now the sports. Yeah, that's quite the news forecast I can see. But, yeah, barring something crazy happening, like the ILA falling down and being put into the abyss, I don't see Six Nations really having too many trip-ups. But who knows? There are some upstart teams that don't know they're supposed to lose. Oakville's one of them. Coburg's one of them. Peterborough at times is one of them when they have the right lineup in there, if they're all healthy and happening. Because I don't think there's been a game this year where both Cotonis have played a full game. Either one's in or the other's in or both are in for a period. I don't think there's been a full game where they've been in there. And they have a heck of a lineup when you take a look at it. Between them, Rob Hellier, Brad McCulley, and it goes on and on and on in there. So it's just, as well as the mainstays on defense that can do all kinds for you, like the Robert Hopes. And then, Drew Hutchison's looked good this year. Deacon Knott's been good. Hopefully, I think his suspension's over now. All these guys have been sitting out because of that brouhaha a couple of weeks ago. So, do silly things, win stupid prizes, right? And that's where we go. But down the stretch, everybody better be on their best behavior because everybody's going to be needed. Anyways, that'll wrap us up for this week. Again, we want to thank you for being with us as always. And I want to thank Paul Stewart for taking the time to come on and discuss all the inductees into this year's class of 2026 for the NLL. Great selections of guys who are there. Kind of like the Ontario Lacrosse Hall of Fame. They're just incredible, the people who are going in. So, great job, everybody. We will be back again next Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And until then, for Shawn Slaght over in Moose Jaw, for Muffler Mike over in Connecticut, I'm Gary Groob in Toronto, wishing you the best of weeks. And again, remember, as always, keep your sticks high, keep your spirits higher. Until we see each other next week, have a great week, everybody. Take care.